moving as a response to God's calling has never been easy. And I'm sure that if we were to interview all the people that left their place because God called them out, would say the same thing. My first move was from my hometown, where I had spent all my secondary school, to the university town. And I was carried into it by my teachers in school. My parents had absolutely no idea. They never finished secondary school themselves, so they didn't know anything. My teachers said, you must go to the university. They helped me fill the forms and all that was needed. That was in the system. You fill a form and that goes through your school, and then you are accepted in first year university. So I applied and I started university. And I had no idea what I was in for. And that's my first advice. Before you move, you have to prepare. You have to ask questions. And all of you that are young and that are planning to go to the university, don't just ask questions about the town and your studies and what you plan, but also the way to interact, the social life in the university. Because I was just alone, nobody to ask advice from. And I was going to lessons in a big theater, and then I come back to my room and I'm supposed to study. And nobody told me how to do it. And in France, because high school is like a continuum of secondary school, there is no difference. You are just carried along. Everything is pre-organized for you, so that when you are on your own at the uni, most of people fail the first year because they were not taught how to read on their own, what to focus on, what books to look for, how to use the library. Nothing was told, and that was not even the worst. I had no idea that I was like a lamb among the wolves, that there were people that were far older than me that were roaming about there, looking for relationships, troubles. I had been brought up in a Catholic family, although my parents didn't really pray, but at least there was a morality. So when I went to uni, I didn't know anything, and that was my fight. And nobody guided me, nobody provided support, and I found it quite daunting. And if not for God, I would have missed it. That's it. But God's mercifully protected me. So I want to give you advice that you need to prepare and you need to be alert. The letter of Ephesians chapter 6 warns us to wear the armor that God has given us so that we are able to fight. And that was just a small fight. Then the second fight I had to endure was the time after meeting my husband-to-be, we decided that I would apply to get a job after my studies to Nigeria. I applied to Nigerian universities and I got several admissions, several offers of job. And I picked one with his help, and then I had to leave. First of all, I had to leave my region that was in the south of France to go to Paris to get a visa from the Nigerian High Commission. I spoke English just a bit, because I studied English too. But still, I had to leave on my own to Paris. Thankfully, somebody took me along and brought me to the embassy, to the High Commission. But then I had to enter on my own. And they were treating me as a suspect because it was just after the Biafran War. And I was brought directly to the ambassador. And he started quizzing me. Why do you want to go to Nigeria? Why did you apply? Blah, blah, blah. And I had to give answers. And it was only God's wisdom that helped me. I was praying all along. God save me. Help me. What shall I say? What answer will I give? Well, thankfully, God helped me. I got the visa, I traveled, and I arrived in Nigeria. My head of department was waiting for me, and then trouble started. On the way, the tire had a puncture, and we were there on the road waiting for it to be repaired. Then I arrived on campus, and it stopped at somebody's house. And I looked at that place. I didn't know it, frankly, that it was a house for people, because it had none of the signs that it was a house like I know house to be in France. So I had to adjust my thinking to find out, yes, it was a house, but it was looking very different. And that's part of moving. You have to learn new stuff. Don't get stuck. Be flexible. Accept that a house may not be looking like what you expect it to be. People may not expect to be like you expect them to be. Eventually, I was put in that house to share with two other girls. And those two girls were my age, but they were just there for 2 years for having to have a jolly time while they were teaching. And they spoke English. They didn't understand anything that I was doing. And I quickly found out that our ways were completely opposite. They had long nights and parties while I spent my evenings studying for my PhD, because it was only halfway through at that time. Then in the morning I would get up very early while they would be having a lie down. And then they were eating British food, and somebody was there to serve them, standing by their side while they were eating. I'd never seen a servant in my life. I didn't know that anything like that was existing. I had to understand, ask questions, learn. And it was another difficulty. Then I had to learn how to cook Nigerian food. I went to the kitchen and asked the servant, the cook, to show me. And that didn't go well with the girls. They were asking why I do that. I'm not supposed to bother. And I had to explain. And you find out that as you learn new stuff, as you then develop your personality and adjust, and then you have to also give an account, because people will start asking questions. Why are you doing this that way or this way? Why did you say that? Why are you going to church? There are all kinds of questions, and you learn how to answer them. That time I was still a youngster, and I was on my own. And I hope that you'll get something from my experience.